Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am super excited about this live tonight. And I'm going to teach very simply how to hit your goals in 2021. I'm going to break this down step by step. And I know that what I'm going to share is going to support you. If you have the mindset that you're like, I want this year to be an incredible year, I'm willing to do whatever I need to do to change my life, to change my business, to change my body. If you have that mindset, if you've been talking over and over again to yourself, like, yeah, I said talking to yourself and saying, I know that if I just change one or two things, that I can change everything in my life, my business, and I'm ready to do that. This live is for you. I'm Mia Redrick. I am the mom strategist, a business and life consultant, and I got started my company a long time ago, about 17 years ago. I made the decision simply to go to work as myself, meaning I wanted to figure out how to take what I was doing professionally. I was a corporate trainer for a Fortune 100 company, and I wanted to figure out how to take my skills in motherhood. I had these great self-care systems as a mom. I always made time for my life. And I thought in some way, if I could merge the two into a business, that would be, that would be heaven for me. And I've done exactly that. I've had the opportunity to build an amazing business from the comfort of my home, leveraging both a soft skill, motherhood, and a hard skill, my corporate training, instructional design background. And so today what I do is I teach women how to package their knowledge, what you know, what you've been through, what you've gone through, your PhD, your MD, your JD, etc., into a high ticket product that you sell both on and offline. And sometimes the only thing that separates us is just that you know that what you know is valuable. You just don't know how to put it in a structure in a business as a coach or consultant or a trainer or online educator, or maybe you want to license something or something like that, and you just don't know what it could look like. Those are mostly the kind of women that I work with. So fast forward, as a result of me deciding to move forward with my dream, I went to a small business resource center in my town. And I was told by the director of the Small Business Resource Center that my idea, mom coaching, did not make any sense, that no one would ever pay me to do what I do today. And I always share this story with you because maybe you're like me and you're that person, hey, Kathy, and you think outside of the box and you've shared your ideas with others and they've said to you, that does not make any sense. Well, that was me. And I remember my feelings being hurt and wondering or doubting myself, thinking that I just thought it was a great idea that I could support moms with doing the things that I was doing, because so many of my friends and colleagues and other moms were asking me, how do you do what you do as a mom? And so maybe you've had those kind of questions and those kind of clues in your life. That was me. So I kept looking for someone to help me, and I ended up bumping into this world of coaching and a coach. And I've worked with the same coach for the last 17 years. And her system, her model, her example changed my life. It was the first time I ever saw someone who had what I call time freedom, working from the comfort of their home, building a business that was highly time rich, and doing what they knew how to do, right? Like not studying what anybody else was doing, but literally built a business around her own expertise. And that's what I wanted to do. And so fast forward, today I've coached thousands of women literally all around the world, and I support them in packaging their knowledge into high ticket offerings, both on and offline. And I've built a business that I'm really proud of and that I love. And it's funny because I remember when I got started, I had no idea if anything was going to work, because we never know if the things we think about are really going to work or not. And I look now and I think, man, it's so exciting because my kids are 22, 19, and 15, and they've never seen their mom or their dad ever work a job. And I'm not anti-job, but my reason for starting my own company was so that I could build a business that would give me time freedom. And I just could not see myself working for 40 years for someone else or more, 40 years or more. And I couldn't see myself working 40 to 70 hours a week for someone else for 40 years. And so I knew I had to build a business that would give me the freedom that I desired and allow me to use my talents and put them to use, in a different way. It was interesting equally. My husband developed kidney disease about 10 years ago and went on dialysis. So I don't know what you guys know about dialysis, but it's a very aggressive therapy. And thank you. I appreciate you, Darlene. And he went on dialysis, and which is 3 hours is the therapy, 3 times a week. And so you can only imagine how it changed the dynamics of my family. My oldest at the time was 12, my daughter was 9, and my youngest was 5. And it was a scary time for us. And one of the things that I was most grateful for, and it's the reason why I share this with so many women, so many moms, is I was grateful that I had built a business that allowed me to show up for myself and I got myself free. And because of that, Mia, okay, I was able to stand in the gap for my family, for my husband specifically when he needed me. See, a lot of us are so codependent on our jobs for income or our spouse's income that we could never stand in the gap for our partners, right? Because we haven't stood in the gap for ourselves. So if you listen to my lives, and there are tons of them on YouTube, and you can just search my channel, there are tons over there. If you listen to my lives, you'll hear that the one thing that I'll always share with you is that you can do this, okay? You are too freaking smart, yeah, you are, okay, to not be able to make yourself a product. You are a product. Your knowledge, your background, your gifts, your talent, what you've been through, what you've gone through, your knowledge, your experience. Okay. Sometimes it's the things you've overcome. Like you are further ahead now than you were because of what you learned. And that's highly packageable, right? Okay, so I'm going to jump in. Now, today I am going to share how to hit your goals in 2021. And I wrote this special list here. I've got a couple bullets, right? And I wrote a list because these are the things that I'm doing. These are the things that I'm teaching. And these are the things that I know that if I transfer them to you and you're part of my community, Allegra, that it'll make all the difference in the world for you. And I know it will. Now, when you listen to this list that I'm going to share with you, there might be some you might say, I'm already doing this, right? I am me, I'm doing well. You might be doing some of these things, but some of these things you may not be doing. And the way that I want you to listen or to lean into this is not focus on what you already know. Okay, what you know, okay? I want you to focus on what you do not know and what you're not doing, because it's the differential, right? It's what you're not doing that is not creating the yield that you desire. Are we in agreement? So if you're ready, I'm ready, okay? If you're ready, I want you to write, I'm ready here, and then I'm going to get started. And I do think you have to be ready for a powerful message. This is a powerful message, so you have to be ready to receive it, okay? And if you're watching the replay, I want you to write, I'm ready. I'm talking to you too. All right. Okay, perfect. All right. So I'm going to jump in and I'm going to share. Jacqueline's the first. She is ready. Awesome, Jacqueline. I'm so glad you're here. Jacqueline is ready. Awesome. Love your shot too. And Constance, you're always ready, right? You're always ready. Okay. And then Coral, you're ready. Angela, you're ready. And Darlene says, I'm so ready. I like those frames, Darlene. I just bought new glasses, so I'm totally into frames. Okay, awesome. Okay, so we're going to jump in, all right? How to hit your goals in 2021. Number one. Okay, number one, you might want to write this down. You need to get clear on what will it take for you to achieve your vision. Now, let me explain. I've got a couple of questions that I want you to think about when you think about your vision, right? That the thing that you are like, man, if I achieve this thing in my mind's eye, that would make my year absolutely magnificent. This is how I plan my year. I always start with this high vision of what it is that I want to achieve. Now, a tall vision, and I mean tall, is something that in most cases is going to be absolutely unrealistic. Now, I always play in the unrealistic because one of the things I realize is that most things that we desire, that we truly desire, they're not realistic. If you think about, an airplane, like when people weren't able to get on airplanes and the Wright brothers had come up with, they wanted to have this idea, create a bird in the sky that people could get on and fly from one place to another place quicker, faster. Think about how unrealistic that was. Okay. When people wanted to Take trains, right? Or when you think about any invention, right now I'm thinking about, we have a lot of smart equipment in our home gym. And now think about, that was probably very unrealistic that people are going to want to train from their homes with this equipment that, totally can analyze their bodies and do the same thing that a trainer could do. It was unrealistic. So one of the things that I want you to think about for yourself is some bodacious goal that's absolutely unrealistic, but it is the vision that you have. Okay. It is the vision that you have for yourself. When I think about all the big goals that I've hit over the years, they were absolutely unrealistic. Okay. If I told someone I want to get a corporate deal with Panera Bread, and they would say, well, why you? Like, I mean, Mia, like, how come? What do you have? What do you have? Almost knocked this water over. What do you have that would allow you to get a deal, right? It was unrealistic. And I not only did one partnership with them, I did two, okay? Just to name a few. Yeah, I want you to think right now about a vision that you have that is incredibly unrealistic. And it's something that you want, that you desire, and you're willing to work for. See, there's something about that big, bodacious dream that you can get behind. And sometimes the dreams are too small. And the reason that we don't do what we need to do is because it won't change your life that much. But that big dream, sometimes it's enough to fire you up when you think about it each and every day. I know that for me this year, one of the things that I said, I don't know if you guys will be able to see this or not. One of the things that I decided is I'm focusing on my physical health, right? In different kind of ways. And so I pulled out a picture. Can you guys see this? I don't know if you can see it, but I pulled out a picture of myself in prime physical shape. And I said, I'm going to put it on my phone. I'm going to look at it every single day. This is the bodacious vision that I have. And every single day when I want to work out or I don't want to work out, I look at my phone and I think, this is the girl. We're getting her, right? And I change my habits. I want you to crystallize a vision like that, right? And surround yourself in it. Something you can get excited about. When you think about it, you have feelings around it. Sometimes we have a vision and it's so small, it doesn't excite you. You can't think about it every single day. And you actually don't know how your life will change as a result of hitting it. I want you to hit something, think about something really big that if you hit it, you're like, wow, this will be incredible. Here's some questions to ask yourself. Who do you need to become to achieve that vision? Who do you need to become? So like for me, I had to commit to myself. I have to become consistent at working out. And then I had to define what that looked like. And I went deep with that. Ask yourself that question. Who do you need to know and associate with, right? Who do you need to know? Who do you need to associate with, right? Right? What resources do you need to have in order for that big, bodacious vision that would change your life, change your body, change whatever, right? What do you need to have? All right. Does that make sense? So it's not just write the vision on tablets, make them plain, but it literally is asking yourself those questions. How do you need to show up in order for you to secure that vision? Right? How do you need to show up? 3 days a week, 4 days a week, 5 days a week, 15 minutes a day? What is it? Okay. So that you understand like that vision, what the requirements are for you to hit that vision. I think sometimes we don't go deep with the vision that we see. I think also that vision often is just way too small. And because it is, we're not in alignment. Because if it won't truly change your life, you're not going to be motivated enough to do it. But if it will truly change your life, you'll find that there'll be excitement in the journey along the way of who you become and how you change. Does that make sense? All right. Does that make sense? If it makes sense, I want you to write, it's making sense. Number 2. Okay. How to hit your goals in 2021. I want you to implement more than you wish and than you hope or complain. Okay. So I want you to implement more than you wish, than you hope or complain. All right. And I want to break this down. The truth of the matter is, if I think about my most successful clients, and I've worked with thousands of women over the years who've achieved significant results, and there are some who lead from the front. There are some women who lead from the front. And the question always is, how is it that some people hit their goals and others don't? And now that I've coached so many women, I see a pattern. So I want to share that pattern with you, okay? The truth of the matter is, women who implement more achieve more, right? It's really very simple. Most people are not persistent and consistent with their goals, with the implementation, the things that it takes to change their lives, right? So, a lot of times, the reason that people don't see significant growth, improvement, and success, right, and that allows them to hit the goal is because of inconsistency, right? It's because when things get hard, they don't do the work, okay? Or they complain or they blame, okay? Or they don't take responsibility. I'll talk about that in a minute. Or they're more interested in wishing and hoping, as if wishing and hoping is working, and it's not, okay? So if you want to hit your goals in 2021, I will tell you, I want you to write down in your calendar each and every day one thing that you implemented, three things that you implemented toward that big, bodacious goal. And I will tell you that if you commit just three simple acts every single day in the direction of where you want to go, what you'll see is that you've done over 1,000 acts in the direction of that big, bodacious goal. There's no way your life is going to be the same. The reason that most people don't hit their goals is because they're inconsistent, because they don't chip at the goal over and over again. They might have the idea that I'm going to do a lot right now, and then they don't do a lot. They do a lot, they don't do a lot. But what if you just decided, right, that you're going to implement toward your goal, that big goal, three simple steps each and every day? It's very doable, it's very achievable. When I look at my clients who have created the greatest amount of success, they aren't the noisemakers. They really aren't. They're the people who are consistent. Every single week, they do something to move their life and their business forward. Right. The truth is, when you are making things happen, that's all you have time for, right? So it's interesting because people who implement don't complain because they're implementing. Does it make sense? Okay. People who implement don't whine because they're doing the work. And when you do the work, a whole nother world opens up to you in terms of what opportunity looks like, what your next questions are, just other things that get you closer to the goal, so you have a different view and you can see the progress. When you don't implement, it's very easy to stay in the same place and have the same view because you're not doing the work. Super important. I hope this is making sense. Number 3, how to hit your goals in 2021. Be teachable and coachable. Okay, not a yeah butter. Okay, not a yeah butter. Okay, so here's the thing. I've learned over the years. I've coached. I've had very few coaches, but my main coach I've worked with for 17 years. She's my consultant. I hired her 17 years ago. We're married for life, right? And I'm very coachable and very teachable. So over the years, she's told me to do some things that sometimes I didn't understand. I didn't want to do. I didn't like to do. But I thought the reason that I hired her was because she was living a life that I wanted to live, right? She had freedom. She had financial security. She had a great relationship with her spouse. And she had built a business in a way that I wanted to, right? So that was, hey, Rosetta, I'm so glad that you're here. And so I decided that it didn't matter what I knew, okay? It didn't matter how much I knew. Okay, and I'm going to break this down for you in a minute. It didn't matter. What matters is that I had enough respect for my teachers that I invest in to not be a yeah butter. It doesn't matter how many degrees you have. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't even matter what success you created in the past. I mean, the truth of the matter is I was very successful prior to working with a coach. I mean, I was a corporate trainer and that's what I did. But it doesn't matter because I didn't know anything about coaching. I didn't know anything about building a business from the comfort of my home and a business that was time rich and leveraging my knowledge. I had no idea. So I had to be teachable. I had to be coachable. I had to be a student in the business. And that's super important. And if you are not operating from a place of being a student, okay, I will tell you that it will 100% get in the way. When I think about the number of people who they are their own enemy, like literally, mainly because they're not coachable, they're not teachable, because they allow their ego to get in the way of whatever it is that they need. For me, I've always just been this person that I make an investment with the intent to get a return. And I know that the only way that I can is by doing the work and that my coach is telling me to do. And if I'm not doing the work, how can I expect a yield? No, 100%, right? So this is super important. So, you want to make sure that you're not a yeah butter, the person that's like, yeah, but can I do this? And I will never arm wrestle anyone, never, that I'm working with. If you say like, can I do this instead? Sure, you can do it. It's not what I just told you, but sure, you can do it. It's free world, right? Because a coachable, teachable person is a person that's willing to run the play the way it is. Okay. You need to understand that you don't have to hear what you want to hear. Okay. When you're in a strategic coaching relationship, you're not in a relationship so you can hear just what you want to hear. Hopefully you're in that relationship so you can hear some things that are different. And if that coach or mentor is doing things that you haven't done, then likely that's the reason that you decided to work with that consultant, that coach, or that mentor. And I think one of the biggest things that gets in the way of people hitting their goals who are already vested with coaches and mentors is their teachability, their coachability, and lack of implementation, what I just talked to you about. All right. You got to be a partner in your own success. And I always say, be a student. Like, be a student of the business. Like every time I have worked with my coach or my coach's coach, and wherever I go in any community, the first thing people tell me is like, you're a master implementer. Well, I'm a master implementer because I'm teachable and I'm coachable. I act like I know nothing. Okay. When I'm around my coaches, I am there to learn what I do not know. So I'm not there to count what I do know. And if you're that person that's always talking about like, I know that, I did that, and you didn't do it because you don't have the results, you got to work on being coachable and teachable. I hope this is helpful. And I think it's also helpful to have this conversation with you because I think a lot of times people think they are coachable and teachable and they're not. And, and at the end of the day, sometimes we can't figure out why life isn't working for us. And a lot of times life isn't working for us because of how we show up with life. Okay. This is just simple as that. Number four. Okay. Number four, how to hit your goals in 2021. Take responsibility for the journey without judgment. And more importantly, without self-judgment. What do I mean by that? So you got to know that when you are working on these big, bodacious dreams that you have, that sometimes they're going to be up times and sometimes they're going to be low times because any goal will require you to overcome yourself. It will, right? Change, grow. Sometimes some days will be hard for you. Some days will be easier for you. And it's easy when things are easy to be excited about your goals, right? But when you have those moments that stretch you, right? That sometimes that make you feel broken on a day, right? Like let's say you had a day and you're selling and nobody's buying. And you just thought what you had was just good. And now you start to question yourself. I want you to take responsibility for the journey without self-judgment. And you got to understand that even when things aren't working, things are working. There's growth that happens when things don't work out as planned. Simple as that. I was sharing with my clients just yesterday, and that I had an opportunity to pitch to it was like a Fortune 10 company. And I was very early in the business and I actually didn't know what I was doing, right? I knew I had a good pitch. Somebody introduced me to someone and on the advertising side, and I shared my pitch with that person, not even knowing how to protect my ideas. I didn't know what I was doing. This is 17 years ago. And they took my idea, like literally, and we saw it on television. My husband called me, he yelled, I went running up the steps, and it was literally the exact same idea. And I wasn't compensated for it. Of course, she didn't call me back anymore. It was a mess. And I could have very easily been angry and self-judgment and said, Mia, wow, that was so stupid. How could you have done that? How could you just give your idea away, right? But instead, I decided that the way that I would look at it is I was like, wow, you've got clearly really out of the box ideas that are highly monetizable, because this idea went, when 3 or 4 months, ended up being a major marketing campaign for this Fortune 10 company. So I decided to spend it in a different way so that I could see the gifts that were inside of me. And I saw that as evidence. Okay. I didn't see it as failure. I saw it as evidence. And I could have very easily been in self-judgment or doubt because that was a big mistake, but I never made that mistake again. I immediately hired an IP attorney, a firm, and they've been my firm for like the last 16 years or so because I learned the lesson. So when you're learning the lessons, they're going to be along the way of building a business. They're going to be things that work and they're going to be things that don't work. And you got to understand that successful entrepreneurs, they don't see failure the same way as most. Okay? They don't see failure the same way as most. They see it as an opportunity for growth. They see it as an opportunity for correction. They see it as an opportunity as an expansion. They see it as proof of concept. And so if you are looking this year to hit and exceed your goals, one of the things that's going to be really important is taking that responsibility for your journey, but not being judgmental of yourself, right? Not blaming others for what you don't do, not blaming yourself. So important. Take responsibility. All right, number 5. Really important if you want to hit your goals is network only with people your own ambition level and above. Hey, Madera. And and you wanna hang out with people who speak a different language. And I talk about this all the time. And sometimes people are like, well, what do you mean they speak a different language? I mean, like they speak a language you do not speak because it'll grow you. You want to hang out with people who stretch you, you know, who are going somewhere that you desire to go, who've been somewhere that you haven't gone to yet. And the challenge that I have with so many people is that they want to hang with people that are always just like them, right? Or they want to pull people up, right? In that regard. I like to be in rooms with people who know things that I do not know. People who are talking about things that I've never heard of before because I know just simply by association, it'll grow my comprehension 30%. And I'm into that. You got to ask yourself, are you hanging out with people your own ambition level and above, or people who only want to hang out with people at a lower level? What does that mean? That means that there are people who like to be the smartest person in the room because their ego cannot handle hanging around people their own ambition level and above. I'm just saying, okay? And you have to ask yourself that, right? Are you that person that you're like, I'm always the tallest person in the room? The question would be, if in this upcoming year for 2021, why is that? Okay, right, Gidget, right? You want to make sure you're in a space where, that people are saying things, there are opportunities that exist, there are deals being cut, there are conversations that are elevated. They're not the same old thing. And the challenge is that we get in our mind, right? This helper mentality. Women are really guilty of this. It is helping mentality. And we're like, I just want to help everyone rise. Okay. And it actually is codependency. It actually is our ego speaking, right? Because I don't want to be in the room to help everybody rise. Like if I'm in a mastermind, I'm looking to grow. Like I'm not there to be the teacher. There is a teacher. I'm looking to be the student and to associate with other people who are better students than me. And I want to give you this perspective because I hope that it helps you. A lot of people don't know how to network. They don't know how to have accountability partners. They don't know how to do it at a high level because we're used to doing it at a small level, right? And I think it's so easy to fall in the trap when you do know the answer to be giving the answer to everyone. But I prefer to be in spaces where I actually don't know the answers. Okay. That the rooms that I'm in, Lisa and Jacqueline and Gidget, these rooms are rooms that I'm like, wow, I get to be a student. I get to learn. I get to grow because let's be clear that we have to make room, right? We have to make room in our life for growing. And that means that if I'm teaching, right, then I'm not a student in that moment, right? There's a lot of learning that happens from teaching, but there's a lot of learning that happens from being the student. And I will tell you, if you want to hit your goals in 2021, right, Maria, one of the things that's super important is understanding you need to hang out with people your own ambition level and above. And you'll know someone your own ambition level and above based on how they speak. Now, typically, what I believe is that when people are forward thinking, forward moving, their language is the first sign of it, right? What they talk about, who they talk about, how they talk about, what they talk about is the first sign, almost always, right? It's what they say. And I've learned over the years equally that anyone that wastes their own time will waste yours, right? So, my accountability partner on Fridays at 8, we meet in the mornings and we're like chop, chop, chop. Literally, it's like who could call the other person first? And we just get right to it. We would never disrespect one another by, you know, be just talking about anything that doesn't elevate one another forward. You need to be in groups like that in this year, 2021. Is this helping you? Is this supporting you? Okay. That's my goal today. Okay. Number 6, you need to invest in yourself at the highest level without needing validation or permission. Okay. Now that's a tough one. All right. You need to invest in yourself at the highest level without needing permission or validation to do this. Now, there are so many women, LaJean, in the green. Okay, you look amazing, Rosetta. So there's so many women, right? I'm glad, Takesha, I'm so glad that they cannot move forward. They cannot invest in themselves without surveying everybody. They survey their girlfriends, they gotta talk to their mom, they gotta ask their husband, right? What do you think? Do you think this is the time for me? You think this is right for me? And I tell you, my husband came to one of my events maybe about 4 years ago, and we did a Q&A, and one of the questions the women had was about how is it that you're able to support your wife, right? Like, how could you support Mia when she's first getting started? She's going to be a mom strategist, and I didn't have any customers, and I had no clue how I was going to do this. And he said it was very easy to support her. He's like, when she made an investment, okay, she honored the investment. Look, I'll just say it slow in case anybody fainted, okay? He said when she made an investment, she honored the investment. So he trusted me more, right? But I never asked permission. Like, babe, you think it's a good time for me to get a coach and build my dream business and live the life of my dreams? You think it's okay? I didn't. Instead, I stepped into it and I committed. And as a result of that, I've been able to be a blessing to my family. Validations for parking lots, not for dreams. And I say this often, right? The reason that we have to take a survey is because we're not certain or we're ready to do the work. That's the only reason you're surveying something. Because if you're in that store and you want whatever it is, right? You know it. You're not calling around asking. If it's something you really want, you're going to do it. All right. But sometimes we're not certain that we're ready. We're not certain that we can do it. And the insecurity speaks. And so we start surveying the people in our world so they can create more doubt for us. And we say, not now. Right. So you need to understand in this upcoming year in 2021, if you want to hit your goals, okay, you got to invest in yourself at the highest level. You're your number one asset. When I make an investment in myself, and this has just been my mindset over the years, I have just said, why would I want to change my life and think $97 is going to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like mentality wise, like I want to learn how to, whatever it is, right? And I'm going to choose the lowest investment so that I can realize my dream. Okay. I've always been a high ticket investor in myself. And I say this today because when I first got started, I didn't even have the money. I remember when my coach told me, now this is 17 years ago, that her program was $2,500, which is like maybe 10, 15, something like that today. And I was like, I don't even know what question I can ask her. Like, I don't even know how this whole coaching thing works, but I know that I want to do what she did in that room. And I don't know another way I can do this. Okay. And somebody that's working 9 to 5 can't mentor me on how to be free and live the life she's living. So I'm going to invest in myself at the highest level. I'm going to go directly to the source. She has what I want. I want to do this my own way. And I am not looking for a deal, a discount. I'm not looking for something on sale. I proactively seek the change I desire. And there is not a price that I would not invest in myself so that I can change my life. And I believe wholeheartedly is how I've changed my life. I have had several clients who said to me, I mean, tons, who said to me over the years how, because they shifted their mind around investing in themselves, how they've been able to change their lives because of the exposure, because of the network, right? And I think that this is really important for you for 2021. Right? It's going to be important any year that you guys are watching this in the future, is to understand that you got to give yourself permission to invest in yourself at the highest level for that big bodacious dream. It doesn't require a low ticket investment. It requires you to make an investment at a level that you cannot walk away from. Okay. When we make investments for $100, if you don't do it, you can walk away from it. You make a big investment in yourself, you are not walking away. Okay. It will make you answer to yourself differently. I'm just breaking this down. And I hope this helps you. I hope it supports you in changing your mindset this upcoming year around understanding you're your number one asset. Why are you buying everything on sale? Why is Black Friday the highlight of your world? Oh, you did it. Come on. Okay. Proactively seek the change you desire and make the investments in yourself. Be strategic about it. I watch women do it all the time. Number 7, you need to follow the proof when you select your coaches and your mentors and your consultants. So whoever it is that you decide that you're going to work with, you need to follow the proof. Like, how it's like, follow the yellow brick road. You remember that? Follow the yellow brick road. Follow. Okay. Anyway, follow the proof, Kimberly. You got to follow the proof. Follow the proof. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean that the reality is that, if people do what they say they can do, there should be evidence that they've done it. I think so. I think there would be evidence of that they've done it in the past. And I think there would be evidence that they do it currently, right? And I find that most people don't follow the proof. They don't look for any proof. Like, they might invest with someone, they say, I can help you write your book. But that person's never written a book. I've helped over 190 of my clients write books. Many of them are bestsellers. Just 2 of my clients last week were bestsellers. 4 of my clients wrote books just last week. The fact of the matter is, you need to follow the proof. The people that you're investing with, your mentors, your coaches, your trainers, okay? You need to see the kind of results that they've created, and then ask yourself, are these the kind of results that I'm looking to create? It's that simple. It's really that simple. Okay. It's not a pretty dress. It's not a beautiful bag. It's not a beautiful speech or talk. Okay. It's not a dance break. Trust me on all these things. It's none of those things. I'm telling you. I have only worked with mentors who were free. If you were not free, you could not teach me. Why is that? Because I wanted to be free. I wanted to be a full-time entrepreneur, and I did not want to work with anyone who wanted to teach me who was on the road. I didn't want that. I wanted to work with a mentor, a teacher, or a coach who was free. Okay. What is it that you desire? I wanted to work with a mentor, teacher, coach who had great, healthy relationships with their partner, who was married, who had kids. I wanted that because I have children. I am married. I've been married for 25 years as of December 29th, this past December 29th. I wanted a mentor who was successful and married. Yeah. Okay. That was important to me. And not that was my thing. Okay. You'll have your own. I'm just sharing with you. And I wanted to see evidence of that goodness. Okay. Because I knew that they would help me be able to navigate that. I wanted a mentor who built their business and that was time rich. Not trading time for dollars, not running all over the place. My mentor had that. And she showed me how to build a business. I now work 6 hours a week from the comfort of my home, right? Servicing my clients. I wanted that. I said, if you're not free, you can't teach me. Okay. You need to ask yourself, what are the questions you're asking? What are your requirements when you have a mentor? You know, there should be proof, there should be evidence that the person that you want to work with has. And I think people sometimes get caught up in the wrong things. They get caught up in the shiny objects. I think COVID is curing a lot of that. The shiny objects, like somebody sitting in first class, and you're like, I want to sit in first class. Ticket's pretty inexpensive. You could afford it. Okay, anybody could do that. Okay, when you're talking about lifestyle, freedom, building a business that's highly leveraged, using your intellect, selling what you have for high ticket, working from the comfort of your home, think about that, right? Getting free, staying free, being able to give your kids a world-class education, like literally investing millions of dollars in your kids, elementary, middle, high school. I'm into that. Like, how about that? Okay. I'm just breaking this down. I hope that what I'm saying to you, like, those were the real tangible things that I desired. And because those are the good things going to change my life. And those are the things that have changed my life, right? Like having mentors that could teach me real things that were sustainable so that I could be a full-time entrepreneur for over a decade. And my kids never see me ever work a job. Like, that was what I wanted. And you need to make sure that in order for you to achieve the same, that if that's what you want, that your mentor has what it is that you desire. And people, they get caught up in shiny things like pretty purses. I mean, what does my purse have to do with you? Okay, the purse I carry has nothing to do with you. The shoes I wear, what color they are on the bottom, has nothing to do with you. Nothing. How will that change your life? Okay, I'm talking about how to change your life and by hitting your goals in 2021. And I'm being truthful. Number 8, you got to read. Okay. You got to read. Reading is so important, and not read just anything, but you want to read books that can grow you, right? And grow your people skills, your communication skills, your leadership skills. You're the CEO, right? You got to lead from the front. And how do you lead from the front without understanding people? You're going to deal with all kinds of people in business. You're going to deal with all kinds of people in your life, right? You're going to walk in all types of boardrooms. You're going to close all types of deals. And the one thing that happens in all of those things is that it involves people, okay? So you need to read. You got to grow yourself. You want to know that you don't want to take anything personally, right? Business is just business. One of my clients, and I say this often because it's like one of the funniest things somebody's ever said to me. When I do my coaching calls with my clients, I answer a lot of questions, right? And she always said what she said to me. She was like, "Mia, is there a book of answers?" And I said, "No, there's not a book of answers." Okay, but the deal is that I've read a lot. I've worked it a lot. I've implemented a lot, and I only talk about what I know about. And so it might seem like there's a book of answers, but the truth of the matter is I just talk about what I know about. Okay, number 9. Got to practice great self-care. Okay. So, sometimes we've been taught this other thing, hustle and grind. You got to be twice as good. You got to work twice as hard forever. Okay. It's hard to sustain that. It's quite frankly, it's a toxic belief, hustling, right? I mean, you have moments where sometimes you got to get it in, but hustling is a sustained practice for living your life will burn you out. Okay. And so I teach this concept with my clients in their business building is I'm building a business based on ease and grace. And I literally built my business literally around my life. I said, I want to be the mom that can bring cupcakes to school at every birthday party, whatever it is. Okay. And so I built my business so that I could be there in school, be there for my kids, date my husband in the middle of the day. Okay. I wanted to do that. Okay. And that to me was the ultimate self-care. I wanted to be able to go to the gym every day and spend time with myself. So I built my business around the life that I wanted to live, not the other way around. And the same way is my same philosophy in my home is that I didn't want to build a life that I had to escape. I wanted to build a life I wanted to come home to. And so I hope that in hearing this year, how to hit your goals in 2021, that you really start thinking about, like, what is my self-care ritual? Am I ritualistic about my self-care? Do I do something for myself every single day or not? Do I do something for myself every single week or month or not? And if so, that you'll start to integrate and practice better self-care. I realize the more I take care of myself, the more my business grows, because I ask better questions because I'm rested. The more I show up more powerfully and more passionately, excuse me, in my relationships with everyone, okay? The more I can give my clients from my overflow, because there is overflow, because I've given myself the opportunity for that. And so I hope this helps you. Like, I hope this helps you, self-care is not optional. It's necessary for you to be the kind of woman and person that you desire to be, for you to be the kind of mom, the kind of wife, right? In any other role that you feel, right? It all starts with you being whole first. And so many of us are saying, look, here's this big, amazing vision I have. And the vision gets this much of your time and energy, because by the time you've made room for the vision, you have done everything else, right, first, that won't move you forward. And so you live a life of quiet desperation. The passion is muted, right? The dream is on hold, right? Because you haven't made time for it. And I'll tell you that self-care is an important component. Like, me, fulfilling my goals is a part of my self-care. Like, it's the thing that gets me fired up every day, is supporting my clients at the highest level. I love it. Okay. It's part of my self-care. It's how I grow who I am. All right. I'm just asking you, how do you grow who you are? You guys getting this? And then number 10. Okay. And then I'll open the floor for some questions. Number 10 is practicing resilience, right? Practicing resilience. Okay. So, this year, last year, is a year for the resilient. Okay. And so we can very easily spend our lives always focusing on the past. Okay. It happens, right? Stuff happens. It does. All right. And just because it happened, and just because maybe it was hard or it was different, okay, just because it was you had to change things, doesn't mean it's all bad. Maybe it's for your good. Maybe it's just a matter of perspective. Practicing resilience is super important. I see people that things happen in their life and they get stuck at what happened. They cannot move forward beyond what happened. They just want to talk about what happened. But what if in this moment you decided it happened? What's next? Okay. Because it is, if you want to hit your goals in 2021, you kind of have to have that mentality. Like, it happened, because it did. Okay. There was a shutdown. It was. Okay. There was a lockdown. It still is, to some extent. All right. And things you felt like for the first time, maybe, that some things were out of control, whether it was where your kids were going to go to school, or were they going to be educated at home, or where you were working, or how you were going to generate income, or could you generate income, or whatever was going on with your spouse, or that you couldn't go outside, or you had to order your groceries, or whatever. Practice resilience, right? What if you said in this moment, instead of why, what if you said, how can I make the most of this moment? How can I show up as powerfully as I can? What are the opportunities that exist for me right now in this moment? You know what I mean? I always see these times anyway, whenever there's something like a COVID or whatever happening, some kind of major change, I think it's just a transference of wealth. There's so many people who will say, during a time that is completely different, that, lower your prices, people aren't buying, and to be afraid, be very afraid. What if you understood that it's just a transference of wealth? There are businesses right now that are doing exceptionally well. I can tell you that. It's true. It's true. And I'm not saying this to say not having compassion for businesses that are struggling, because I acknowledge that, and it's hard. I'm talking about you and your dreams right now. Okay. So I want to take you back to center. You and your dreams, that big, bodacious dream, number one. Okay. There are businesses right now that are closing like crazy. I just talked to some clients just on Wednesday, closing like crazy in the midst of COVID, closing like crazy. Okay. What if you practice resilience and you start asking different questions so that you could close like crazy. You could realize your goals and your dreams. Okay. So that's what I have for you. I'm going to just recap real quick. If you have a question for me, then write it here and I'll read through some of the comments that are here. And this is what I want to know. If you have a question, great. An aha, a takeaway, okay, as a result of being here today. I'm so glad that you're here. You could have been anywhere, but you're here. And I'm so grateful that you're here. I appreciate you. I wanted just to speak from my heart. I'd love to hear your aha, biggest takeaways on being here, or a question that you have for me. All right. So I talked about today how to hit your goals in 2021. Just to quickly recap, one was get clear on what will it take to achieve your vision. Okay, so you need to get clear, right? And I talked about it step by step, right? Who do you need to become? Okay, who do you need to know? Who do you need to associate with? How do you need to show up differently? Number two, implement more than you wish, hope, or complain, please. Okay, nobody's listening to you. Okay, all right. Number three, be teachable and coachable, right? Get rid of the yeah buts. Okay. And you don't have to hear what you want. You don't even have to like what you hear to do it. Okay. Let's be clear. All right. Number four, take responsibility for your journey and don't judge yourself because of failure, right? Take responsibility for the journey. Learn from the journey. Number five, network only with people your own ambition level and above. Okay. And stop hanging out with people who have a lower level mentality than you, right? And expecting to grow. You're going to get what they get. Listen to what they talk about. Number six, invest in yourself at the highest level without needing validation or permission. Okay. What are we doing here? All right. You're grown. All right. It's time. Okay. And number seven, follow the proof when you select your mentors, your coaches, your trainers, your teachers, your consultants. Number eight, read. Number nine, practice self-care. It's important. And number 10, practice resilience. All right. Like, let's stop talking about what happened. We all know what it is. What are we going to do about it? All right. You know, you're stronger than you think. You're stronger than you think. All right. So I'm going to open the floor right now, and I'm going to read through a couple of the comments that you guys made. And then Constance wrote, "Hi, Coral Garner. Glad you were able to come to my live. Thank you. Thank you, Constance, for inviting her. Her guidance has transformed my business. Connie, you have done amazing." And Lisa, in that great shot, says, makes sense. Makes sense. Okay. Awesome. And Lisa also wrote, "That was a great perspective. I saw it when you actually wrote it." And Gidget said, "I totally agree. I want to outgrow, I want to grow out of my shell," right? So half the battle is understanding that we get what we say, right? So you say, "I am growing out of my shell." So if you had to say whatever you're saying and put the words behind it, and that's exactly what I want, would you want to say, "I want to grow out of my shell and that's exactly what I want," or "I am growing out of my shell. That's exactly what I want." Okay. So just make sure that what you are saying is the litmus test is, and that's exactly what I want. Because if you get it, okay, it's based on what you say. Your words influence your thoughts influence your feelings influence your actions. Okay, words, right? Words, thoughts, feelings, action. Okay. Owie, so true. Danielle says also. Darlene says, so true. Okay. Awesome. And then Gidget writes here, "How did you find your mentor? Give an example of how to make that connection. Where, when, what?" So I went to a live event, actually. I went to a live event, Gidget. And at that live event, I was able to observe my coach and my mentor doing what she does, coach clients. And I said, I really like her proof of concept. And I saw a lot of her clients there that were getting amazing results. And that was what was the proof for me. And so that would be the first thing that I would suggest, all right? That you attend a live event You might, go to watch their webinar if they have a webinar. If you like what they're doing there, that's a great start as well. So let me know when, where, connection, that when, where, when, what. Yeah, no, that's what I did. It was very simple, actually. I proactively went to see where she was and see her in person, right? And because we could do that at that time. And, and I observed what she was doing, and I liked her style. I liked the way she was teaching. I liked her proof. And I said, that's the person I want to teach me. And I have always chosen mentors who have proof. That's very important to me. Very important. It's not what you say, it's what I can see. Very nicely said, and so true. Okay. Now, Maria writes, you can only serve your clients at the highest level if you're at the highest level, right? Self-care. Love the picture, by the way. And Rosetta writes, my aha is implement more. Thank you, Mia. Hey, I love that. Love you too. And Lisa writes, people who implement don't complain because they're implementing. You don't have time to complain. People that are complaining are people who are not doing the work. Trust me, it's always the case, right? And of course, people who complain they don't know that they don't do the work because they complain. So they don't have to do the work, right? But people who do the work don't complain. And the reason they don't complain is because they're growing. And then in that growth process, they see progress, they see results. And you got to understand that people that complain have to have an audience, right? I mean, you can complain, you can be by yourself, but people who complain, typically, they want to create an audience. So they have the appetite to attract other people on their platform so that they can complain, right? Because they don't really want to move forward. They just want to stay where they are. It's really important. Okay. Tamika, hey there, darling. Do you have any suggestions for homeschooling moms just now starting the process of building a business? What wisdom would you share? Sure. I've coached several homeschooling moms who've done exceptionally well. Actually, I coached a client named Shayla, Shayla Smart, when I started working with Shayla, she wanted to have like a $10,000 a month, and 30 days after attending my live event, she hit $22,000 actually. And within 6 months, she did over $250,000. And then I coached, she's a homeschooling mom, and she took her kids around the world, like literally around the world, I think in Asia, to live while she was building a business. Then I currently coach a client who's a femininity coach, Jasmine. And she, when I met her, wanted to have her business become a six-figure business. She's done that over and over and over and over again, multiple times. And I would say the biggest thing is understanding that systems are important, very important when you're building a business. Sometimes when you're a homeschooling mom, you're used to doing everything. And that means that even in your business, you translate that to doing everything, right? But probably the first thing you want to do is get some support, like a team, someone that helps you, like a virtual assistant that supports you. Mia says, do you have any resources on vocabulary banks, and where can I find them? You know what? I actually have I don't know if it's a resource. I don't even know what it is. And my email, I must have signed up for this. I get like a word a day. Not that I even use it, but like they send me all these words, a word a day, so I can learn a word a day. And I clearly signed up. I would just Google vocabulary banks, right? So, but I don't have one that I could specifically recommend. I keep my vocabulary pretty simple, but I love to speak in terms of results, proof, things that I know for sure, that I can be certain. So a lot of times when we're communicating with others, what allows people to connect with what you're saying is if you just talk about what you know about. You know, if I talk about what I know about, then it's always going to be way clearer than if I talk about what I don't know about or what I know less about, right? So, LaJean, I love that green on you. I want to get clear. Darlene writes, are there any other ahas or takeaways? How do you feel about niche versus a broad business style coaching? That's a great question. So I think specialists always make more. That's what I think. So, I mean, over the years, I've built my whole business as a specialist, as a coach, And I was just never really interested in being like everybody else, because why would I want to be? I'm uniquely made. Darlene, you're unique. Your gifts, your story, your background, your talents are unique to you. So, you're not general business coach. Even if you were an executive coach or a business coach, likely based on your background, your gifts, your talent, your skill, the way you position what you do and what your office would be different from anyone else. So that's how I would answer that. Jacqueline, your 10 steps are very helpful. I decided this year I need Coach A. That's really important. Okay. So now you got that interview process, right? So that you can start checking out who's out there. All right. So get your takeaway, the importance of self-care, and we're resilient. Continue through with the plan. Stop seeking validation for my goals. I love that. So important. Okay. Really important. I think people don't think about that as a key to success, but it's really important part of it. Mia, you're welcome, Mia. I love your name, by the way. Simply, yes, I definitely agree. I love the way that photo looks too. It's great. Lisa writes, my greatest takeaway is to commit 3 things that I want to complete each day and every day. Thank you for that, Mia. Yeah, you're welcome. Are there any other ahas or takeaways? Any other ahas or takeaways? It was a pleasure speaking with you guys. And I haven't been on here for a minute, for maybe 2 weeks, because I had hosted my virtual event was 2 weeks ago, and it was amazing. And I wanted to just take a break. And so last week, I just took a break for the week, and that's what I did. And now we're gearing up for the next event, which is in March, and March 1st to 5th. So I'm excited about that. And, it's just great doing what you want to do with people you want to do it with. I have to say that. And I hope that there's something I've shared with you tonight that will absolutely support you in moving forward with your dreams, with your plans, with your goals. And I want you to know that it is possible for you to take your knowledge and your background, your expertise, your experience, and to package that into a high ticket coaching, consulting, training, etc. Okay. And Mia writes that my aha was the word refreshing. And that was the experience of this chat for me. It was refreshing. Yeah. Awesome. I'm going to post here. Let's see. Keisha writes, take away, look to grow, not to be the teacher. How about that, right? How about that? That's so important. That's like a big aha. Jacqueline writes, yes, so appreciative. Awesome. I'm going to post a link here for you guys to take a peek at the Giant Experience Conference that's coming up in March, and see if it's a fit for you. If you're looking to package your knowledge and experience into a high ticket offering, check it out. Okay. But obviously no pressure, right? Ever, right? Are there any other ahas or takeaways? Any other ahas or takeaways that you have for me? Any other ahas or takeaways before we sign off? It's been a pleasure, right? Talking to you guys tonight. And the questions were so good. Okay. And I don't know, Jacqueline, you have to tell me what you mean. Okay. And Mia says, thank you. You're welcome. And, but just know that your dreams are possible, because they are. And make that vision super big, right? If you haven't done it already, maybe you've got a whole list of small goals and you're like, you already see you're not committed to it. Come up with something bodacious, right? Come up with something bodacious. Lajine says, yes, releasing that toxic belief that I have to work twice as hard. Oh my goodness. And it's not sustainable, right? Or what about this idea that like there's this small subset of people to work with, and that the market is saturated, and that you have to compete or beat or dominate somebody in order for you to be a success? Come on. Like, are you kidding me? All right. Life is so much bigger than that. And I only want to play with people that think like that. Lisa says, anyone that wastes their own time will waste yours. It is fact. Okay. You can take that one to the bank, right? And then Jacqueline writes, commenting to you all, everything was a takeaway, right? Oh, that's funny, right? Yeah, everything was a takeaway, right? It's a process. And I think it's important to have honest conversations that are elevated conversations about what what do people who hit their goals do? And they do what I'm telling you here, right? Like what I've just laid out for you. I looked at my clients and said, who are the most successful and what is it that they do, right? Right. Then my takeaway always are implementation and not needing permission to invest in yourself is so important, Angela. That's really important to understand that, you can um there you go. You can invest in yourself. You don't need permission to do this, okay? And like we make this process way too hard, And I've always been a proactive investor myself. I don't need a sale. I don't need a discount. I go and find what I'm looking for and then I make a decision to change my life. I'm partners with that decision. I'm not looking at something and it's like, oh, okay, sale, 50% off. And now this is my time. That's not how I make my decisions. Okay. And I will tell you that if you understand how valuable you are, that a lot of times you're just one or two ideas away from being exactly where you want to be. Sometimes it's not a lot of things. A lot of times when people aren't achieving their goals or hitting their goals, they think it's everything. Sometimes it's not everything. Sometimes it's just that one or two, that 1 degree, and that's why mentorship is really important. Getting your questions is really answered is really important. But also being a great student and being a person that's an implementer that takes responsibility for the work and not judge yourself. All right, so that you don't build up that fear of being in action. Okay. So I love you. Have a great and amazing night. And I'll talk to you soon. I appreciate you, Lisa. As always, have a great and amazing night.